Hi there, it's Angela J. Bailey in the UK, and thanks ever so much for attending tonight's webinar. So tonight's webinar is going to be about how to run a webinar, and I just want to share with you some great training I've been through, and also what's working for me and what's not working for me. So webinars can be quite daunting. Sometimes webinars can be quite frustrating. And I want to apologise to everybody now to say that we have been late in starting, but sometimes these things happen. And just a little bit about me. I've been around the marketing niche, I would say, for a few years now. And yeah, things do sometimes go wrong. I live in the UK, but I also live in a tiny, tiny little hamlet. So if you know what a hamlet is, because I'm conscious, I think we've got people from abroad. So hello, Martin. Lovely to see you on the webinar. So I know that you've only just flown back to Dusseldorf yesterday from the UK, so thanks ever so much. And Jason, thanks ever so much as well. And there's a few other people on, but what I want to say is, you know, tiny little hamlet in which I live, pretty much the middle of nowhere, and we have problems with broadband out here. Every so often it just goes. Yeah, apologies there, but without further ado, I am going to start and get straight on to the webinar. So why are you here? You're here to see exactly how we do webinars, and we have success with webinars. So let me do this now. All right, I'm going to change that so you will hopefully be able to see my screen. Just a couple of moments, you just have to bear with me. So let's see. I think it's just about working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto my screen, which is a presentation, and I'm going to go through that with you. Okay. So we're going to go through this simple formula, and it's partly what I've learned at the weekend. I've just been on a 3-day exceptional mastermind, and you really get some great tips from going to masterminds. And if there's one thing that I want to say, is when somebody who's generated over 150 million pounds shares with you how he does his webinars, you sit and you listen. So what I've done is I've adapted it slightly. I've simplified it so you can go away tonight and you can be doing your own webinar. So if I did that for you, would that help you? I certainly hope it's going to. So learning the simple formula. I've said a little bit about myself. So I've been around the internet marketing niche for a little while now, and I have systems that I actually like and systems that I don't like. And I'm going to go through some of the different systems that you can have in a moment. But I have a little bonus for you, because we always try and get a bonus for you. So we're doing a little event about webinars, but if you stay till the end, I'm going to give you a nice little bonus tip so that you can get more eyeballs on your website, your webinars, and your Facebook posts, or your Gmail posts, or your Twitter posts. So if I could do that for you and do that little bonus, are you going to stay to the end? Let's hope that's a nice big yes from you. So let's get started. So why are webinars so good? Well, if we just have a look through these, you know, normally we sell face to face, don't we? And if we meet people and sell face to face, that may be today, but we may not see them again for a few days or a few months. So then you may be trying to do phone calls. Now, what we love about webinars, you've seen me because I've actually shown you my face, my hair's done, you know, but you can actually run a webinar when you've just crawled out of bed. and I'm serious here, because you don't have, the person doesn't have to see you. Something I do in my webinars, that's just my style, but not everyone has to, so don't worry about it. A webinar, you can actually get out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, run a webinar and go back to bed. So I don't know if you're from a similar background to me. At some point in my career, I was, well, I've actually been in direct sales. I've been in, you know, network marketing as well. And I think then we were all taught to take somebody for a coffee, you know, meet somebody for a coffee. So you're paying for your coffee and their coffee. Then you're spending an hour of your time trying to go through this business plan. Then after you've gone through the business plan, you know, 97% of people are going to say no, probably. And that's where we were a few years ago. But obviously things have changed. Facebook's changed so much for us. And you know what? Sometimes the best time to get somebody's eyes onto what you have to offer is on Christmas Day. Could be after lunch, everybody else is playing with the games. And you know what? The individual in the house, it may be me, who decides to go and have a look at my computer. It could be New Year's Eve, it could be that time when somebody really wants to change something, or it could be just as they're going back to work and think, do you know what, I've got to do something on webinars, let me have a look out there. And just getting those eyeballs on your website at the appropriate time for your potential customer or the person that you're helping to educate. That's why webinars are so good. You can also automate them. So the same webinar can be running practically 7 days a week. Then you can record another webinar, and as well as that first one running for 52 weeks of the year, your second one can be running for 52 weeks of the year. And if you know anything about, or I'm sure you've heard the term funnels, well, when you have a funnel, it is something that works for you. And the whole rationale about affiliate marketing, online marketing, whatever you want to term it, is it's all about you have to direct people to where you are educating them. And that's it. If you're like me, then you actually have a system working for you where they even take over the sales for me, so I don't have to ring my people. All I do is I actually direct people who are looking for what I have. Okay, so if the next thing I want to just explain, I'm not going to talk about selling to people. That's not what we do on webinars. What I am going to talk about slightly, you know, just touch on, is somebody will only buy from you if they know, like, and trust you. And we've heard that several times before. So sometimes you may have somebody watch a webinar several times or a video several times. And every time that, you know, is trying to go in, should I, shouldn't I? And sometimes people take 32 attempts, or they will look at a piece of information or watch video 30 odd times before they really decide whether to buy or whether to leave it and to move on. And with a webinar, do you know what? It can keep doing that for you. So that's why I absolutely love them. I have, do you know, I think I started running webinars probably about three and a half years ago, and I wouldn't ever stop doing them. I may have a pause, but you know what, they're brilliant. So let's get down to business. What is the biggest struggle with webinars and why people aren't doing them? Oh, you know, think about that for a moment. What is the biggest struggle out there? Okay, well, you do know this one. The problem is trying to get round to doing your first one. That is the biggest issue that people have. And I'm going to encourage you today to make a commitment to yourself, not to me, but to yourself, to get that first webinar up and running. You have to get it out of the way. You have to see what works. You have to see what you hated, what you loved. And once you get to the end, you think, do you know what, it's over, it's done. That's much easier than I thought. So are you going to make a commitment? Only you can decide, and only you can decide what your heart's actually saying to yourself. So irrespective of, I could have had the chat on, let everybody be, talking in that chat, but are you going to make that commitment to yourself in your heart? Okay. First thing you do is you'll need a webinar system, but the first thing that you have to commit to doing is entering your details and setting up your first ever webinar tomorrow. Not next week, not next month, it has to be tomorrow. And if you don't do it tomorrow, I can tell you that by the time it gets to, we're talking Monday and you're saying, right, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next Monday. I can guarantee that it'll get to Sunday night, you haven't done your slides, you haven't sent out your marketing. So that's why it has to be tomorrow. So again, are you going to commit to yourself to get that done? So what are you going to talk about? This is one of the biggest questions. So first of all, they haven't got a system. I'm going to talk about the system in a little while. Okay, there's different options out there for you. The second thing you need to do is get it sorted, get it booked tomorrow. What are you going to talk about? Because when you're setting this up, you've got to give it a title, haven't you? What are you going to talk about? And, one of the biggest things for me over the weekend was just webinars, and how many people in a whole room of 120 people. I think there were probably 5 of us who'd done a webinar. And that's why I thought, I need to share not only my knowledge, but also what somebody who has turned over 150 million, and he does majority of his business now through webinars. So why wouldn't I take some of his by some of his experience and try and give that to you. And that's exactly what I did. I've done webinars before, but I committed and I got one done within 24 hours, got the marketing out there, and it was great. By the following morning, we had 63 views. And let me explain something here as well, because when you look at YouTube at times and you're looking at the number of views that you've had, if one person's looked at it quite a few times, they may go into it several times, and then sometimes something happens, and because it's been one person looking a few times, some of those views are taken away. So don't worry too much about the technical stuff. But by the time I woke up the following morning, there were 63 views of that webinar that I'd done the night before. And when I say that was there were no slides. Well, I had a few slides, I didn't run them. It was just, I had to get it done. I've been at an event. I went on the webinar, I think 11 o'clock at night, and I finished it 23 minutes later, just got it out there. So it can be done. I didn't advertise it. I put one post on a Facebook page, and that's what I got. So you can do it. So what are you going to talk about? What have you learned? What are the fears that you had at the beginning, and what have you managed to accomplish? It could be that you've got an email system. It could be that you set up your own YouTube account. It could be the decision to, I don't know, it could be anything, just the decision as to why you're with your company, why you use a particular product. Could be something that you've heard. It could be somebody who's motivated you. It doesn't matter what it's going to be about. I can guarantee this is not going to be your biggest sales webinar ever. But if you don't get this first webinar out of the way, you will never, never, never have those webinars where people are earning thousands off the back of them, because we have to start somewhere. So, okay, what we're going to talk about, I'm going to leave that with you. I've given you a few examples, but just something that you've recently learned. Honestly, if I did a webinar for every person that had been on stage over the weekend, I'd have enough content for probably the next 6 weeks. And that's not going into any detail about what they've done. It's just about what they talked about. And there's enough golden nuggets there that I could do one probably every night for 6 weeks. I'm not going to. I'm gonna, because I've got my next one planned for Thursday. And honestly, when I actually say who's coming on my next webinar, people will not believe it. So anyway, something that you've recently learned, something that you had fear of, you just need to start thinking about, what your fears were. And when you had those fears, what did you do? Well, you went onto Google, didn't you? And you put it in the search engine. I know you're smiling, you're thinking, how does she know this? You put it into Google and you thought, how to do my first webinar, or a formula for webinars, or how do I do webinars. That's what you're looking for. You looked at some videos that came up on Google or YouTube or some blogs, and you clicked on one or two of them. That's possibly how you found this one as well. People have registered live, but of course, once it's recorded, it's there forever. So just think about that. And once you've got that experience, do you know what? You can just go solve the next problem that people have as newbies. Or, you know, how I made my first $1 online, how I got my first subscriber to my automated email system. I was going to say Aweber, but you know what I mean. Okay. You could even do something like overcoming your fear of webinars. Do you know what? I went on this webinar by this woman from the UK, Sandra J. Bailey, and she told me to do a webinar the following day. So that's what I did. I hated it. I hated every moment of it. But once I got to the end, I realized it wasn't that bad. That's your webinar. A little bit more than that. But anyway, so are you going to set that time for tomorrow? You've set the title. So what's next? It's getting scary now, isn't it? You need to market it. Do you know what? On your first one, can I just say, you do not need to spend loads and loads and loads of money on marketing it. Ask a few friends to just attend. You will know some people. Could be, you know, you're going to stick your iPad in the other room and let the cat watch it. It could be anything, but all you need to do is make sure that somebody's there watching, or at least somebody says they're going to show up, but really don't worry if no one shows up. So let's have a talk about marketing it. So any system that you have, what it's going to do is give you a link, and that's what you could have seen if you joined this webinar on the link. So it's a little link that will paste directly onto your Facebook, onto your Google Plus account, onto Twitter. It can go anywhere, and it allows people to register. Don't just stick that on the top. Okay, don't just put the link on there. Put a little bit of a nice bio. We call it a bit of a bio, or about an intro. Do you know what? Went to a really good event at the weekend, learned quite a few bits, and just stick it out there. A little bit of an introduction about what you're doing tomorrow. You know, be great to see you there. And then the link so people can register, and that's all that happens. Okay, so a nice little header, and paste it onto social media, wherever you are. Really is that simple. Okay, so now I'm assuming that you may have a list, but if you haven't got a list, don't worry. You should have an automated email system, yeah, an autoresponder. And I'm just going to speak briefly about two of them. Aweber, great, that's the one that I use. GetResponse, that's great as well. 50% of us use Aweber, 50% use GetResponse. I put down not MailChimp, and there's a real reason for this. You are in business in network marketing, affiliate marketing. You know, you are going to be selling different products. And MailChimp is a system that's great for what I term bricks and mortar businesses. As soon as they start spotting links, affiliate links, then you will get your account shut down. You are going to be working hard, and your first 10, 20, 30, 40 subscribers, you're going to be losing a little bit of sleep over them, getting them as you learn your craft. I don't want you to lose them all because MailChimp shut your account down overnight, and it will happen. Doesn't matter what you're selling. It's not the system for affiliate marketers or internet marketers or even network marketers. So use Aweber or GetResponse. I use Aweber. Do you know what? They're both great systems. Okay, so now prepare your slides. You know what you're, sorry, and what I meant to say was, let me go back to this. Now go to your email system and let them know what's happening. So you may have people on your email list for tomorrow, and what they're, so you've got a webinar tomorrow. I went to an incredible event. Make sure that, you know, you come to the webinar tomorrow. It's going to be about X, Y, and Z. That's it. And if people are free, they'll register for it. If not, you're probably going to send the replay through to them anyway. So, all right, just make sure that you're emailing people on your list. You should have a list from day one. And if nothing else, it's got your name on it or a friend's name on it. Okay, now prepare your slides. Well, just have a look at the sort of slides I have. You don't have to have this many, but what I'm trying to show you is that you just need prompts and you speak around those prompts. What did you send out in your email? Keep it relevant. If somebody's presented from the front, then have a look at what their slides were. You know, if you've been to an event, or just make sure you haven't got too many words on one page. That's okay. A couple of mine, there's too many words on them, but hey. Okay, jump onto the webinar 30 minutes before it starts, because you can always have problems, and get your PowerPoint slides up and the webinar's ready to go. You need to take a big deep breath and make sure that you've got a glass of water or squash at the side of you. Things are going to go wrong. You know, the beginning of this one, my internet went, and that's because I do live in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't stop me doing them. I start them a bit later. I know every single person who registered for this email, for this webinar, because your webinar system does that. They have to register their email address. So if anything happens and everything goes terribly wrong, you can email them. You can send the recording. You can just say, do you know what, these things happen, but the main thing is keep breathing. Okay, you're going to get through this. It's only half an hour or an hour. You're going to be absolutely fine. So get everything ready. And then at 54, everything was working when I tested it at what was it, 8:30 tonight. When I tried to go live at about 54, 6 minutes before live, hey, internet had gone until about quarter past. So just deal with these things, it happens. Okay, you'll have a chat facility, a question facility. You'll be able to share your screen. You'll be able to show your gorgeous face if you want to. All right. And then you just have to remember that who cares if you forget to share your slides? Who cares if you didn't know how to turn on chat? It doesn't matter. Just keep on talking, keep on going. You are only talking to one person, that's yourself. On a webinar, I know that you can see how many people are there, but when you're talking, you're just talking to yourself as if you're at home, which you are. And just remember that. Be as relaxed and as calm as you can be. Okay, this is really important. I know it's in small letters, but your people, they're your people who are attracted to you, turned up to hear from you, because you've got something, some education that they want. Just remember that, okay? This is an education. It's not a sales presentation, it's an education. That's what you do, and that's what I want you to do until you're comfortable with webinars. The main thing is to know how to get in at the beginning, how to carry on when things go wrong, and how to end it at the end. Okay. As long as you press the either record button or go live button, they're different on different systems. It will record, and then sometimes they automatically upload to your YouTube, and sometimes they don't. Okay, don't worry too much about it. It's going to automatically update. So I said I was going to give you a bit of an overview about why certain systems work and why certain systems don't work. Sorry, how different systems are different. So Webinars on Air, that's what I'm using at the moment. It's okay as a system. It's much better if you're on it in a very high, super duper quick broadband area. But the one thing you need to remember for Webinars on Air, it automatically uploads to YouTube after you've finished, and you actually need an AdWords account as well. So if it isn't working, first of all, then that's possibly why. Just make sure you've got an AdWords account set up. It will say that you need to load $75 or £75, but you don't have to. All right. GoToWebinar has a download program. So as soon as you go to start your webinar, you need to give yourself a good 5 to 10 minutes to download the program, and everybody coming onto your webinar needs to do the same. So with that one, always expect that people aren't going to be with you until about 10 past, and that's if everyone shows up on time. Most people won't show up on time for webinars. GoToWebinar will show the face, the person presenting's face, so your face on the live recording, but on the automated, sorry, on the recording that's then uploaded for you to put onto YouTube or whatever, there will be no face on it, so it loses that once it's been recorded. They're not all equal. There's lots of different webinar systems out there, and there's one that's coming out, and once this is perfected, it'll be brilliant. GetResponses and is an email system. They've also got a webinar system, and you know what, I've had a look at it and it's really good, but the problem is it doesn't work on mobiles. And you have got to think that you're doing webinars and people are going to be sitting in bed watching them. They're going to be on the train watching them. It needs to be mobile responsive. So once they crack that, it's going to be one that I will possibly use. With GoToWebinar, it will automatically record your webinar, and then afterwards you will then have to go and physically upload it to YouTube. So for people who are starting, I say Webinars on Air is really good. I find the clarity of the recording visually not great, but you can get started for $25 a month for up to 25 people, so it's really good. I've said the clarity on GoToWebinar is exceptional, but you are talking about nearly $100 a month for, I think that's for 25 people on your webinar. It is quite expensive. It is one of the best, but I just don't use it because it doesn't visually record the face of the presenter. So that's the only reason why I don't use it. However, there's a new one coming out this week. And myself and Stuart, you'll know about this as well because you told me about it. We're going to be checking this out in November and seeing what this new system's like. So webinars are great, but I have bought, I think about 2-3 months ago, I bought a new webinar system, and you know what? No, didn't like it. When I actually started using it, it only worked properly with one browser. So be careful. You're either looking at Webinars on Air or GoToWebinar. And with GoToWebinar, you can get a 30-day free trial. So try the free trial. It's really good. And then see if it's worth it to you. Okay, so the bonus tip. This is going to be, I'm going to have to see if I can try, and let's have a see if I can try and do this, because I need to try and log into something else. Right, Facebook. I said I was going to show you how you can absolutely get a lot more eyeballs on your webinar. So let me have a quick look at this. Right. This is live. You're seeing some of my live posts here, and the internet is really slow, so I'm struggling to try and show you some of the posts. Right, okay. So what I want to talk to you about is eyeballs on your website. So I'm sure that you've got a smartphone, and I use an iPhone. And if you do use an iPhone, then it works brilliantly. What I want you to do is take quite a few photos in one day. in one afternoon. And then what the iPhone will do, it's when you go on to Facebook, it says it automatically builds music and pictures, so images, and it's like a slideshow that it will build for you. So you should hopefully be seeing that now. Can you see it's going really, really slowly? You can't hear it, automatically puts music to it. So at the weekend, I was at an event, I was invited up on stage, and what I've done is I've just put some images here from when I went on one of the masterminds a few months ago out in Thailand, the London one that I was at, and some of the people. And do you know what? I think it's absolutely brilliant. If you go on to an event, if you attend an event, and somebody has had the photo taken with you, and then what you do is you build that collage of all of the people that you've actually been with, and you know what, they will then start to see that little bit of recognition with some of the faces there, and so they'll watch it again, and then they'll watch it again, and as soon as they've watched it, then other people on their Facebook can see it as well. And this is what really, really, really helps to build your credibility really quickly. So there's little apps. If it doesn't work on smartphones, if it's only the iPhone it works on, I apologize, but just go and find an app, go onto Google and find an app that will put a collage of photos from your smartphone to allow you to put them onto Facebook. And there will be music with that. And let me have a quick look. I'm not sure. 109 views. I only put that on earlier today. Not been promoted or anything. So that's what I wanted to just share with you, that there's little ways to get people to look at your system. All right. So I've gone through what I can't do two things at once, you see. I can't talk and actually operate PowerPoint. So first of all, I've gone through those for you. The bonus tip, I've just given you the bonus tip. I want people to be able to get the eyeballs on your website. It's not about promoting the webinar, it's about getting people looking at your website more. So how can you do that? It's not going to be promoting an event, it's getting people to look at your Facebook about other things, more fun things, and then there will be things that spark an interest with them. And why do people click? Well, videos, number one. Why do you think Facebook Live has done so brilliantly in the last few months? Then we've got pictures, photos. You can convert your photos into something that looks like a video, and there's music as well in there, and then you can do the standard text post. But if you want to stand out in a very, very busy market, then you need to have some videos or slides. And if you don't like talking that much live, then just put the pictures together. I am doing it more and more and more. I'll give you another tip as well. You may have noticed on that Facebook post that I put hashtag Supercharge London. I think that was it, Supercharge London. That gets more eyeballs as well. All right. So just for those who are in my team, to let you know that this is a really brief introduction. The main thing that you need, you probably don't need in-depth training. What you need to do is exactly what I've said. It's making that decision to jump in the deep end and get one done tomorrow, getting a webinar done tomorrow night. If you do that, then you are on the road to fast recognition and success. You know, this is something that anyone within the team, I will coach them on the importance of webinars and getting something visual, something that people, some education out there, and that is the easiest way to bring people your way and attract people into your business. And I'm affiliated with a company where we do top tier commissions, and the reason for that is I had to make a decision, a business decision in my life, to say, did I want to sell products and get commissions of £2, £3 and £4? or did I want to put the same effort into a sale and get commissions that were much higher than that? And we're talking in the thousands. And it's the same. I direct, I find people who have a problem, and that problem can be solved by my education and my help and my advice and pointing them in the right direction because they want something, they want their lives to change. And you can either earn small commissions or large commissions. And I'll tell you something, I'm not going to say who this is, but a very, very, very dear guy who's in the same business as myself. And a few short years ago, he had a network marketing business, and he had 22,000 people in his downline. If you've ever been in network marketing, then that sounds a lot, doesn't it? He earned about 20k a year. Now, if you've ever been in network marketing, you know how tough that is. He came into this, and in less than a year, he's probably earned 4 times what he would normally earn in a year. And he's got a car out of it as well. So why do I talk about top tier? Well, do you know what? If you're going to the effort of attracting people, find out how to attract the right people. And when you do attract the right people, make sure that you are going to be able to live comfortably so that you're not lying about your lifestyle and that you're actually living the lifestyle that you're promoting. Okay. I put questions up, and let me just double check. I have got a couple of questions that have come through. So first question is, it's actually about what's this new system that I've mentioned that's coming out. I'm not going to mention the name just in case it's not what I like. As I said, there is another one which is, great, very, very good system. Webinar Jam, that's been out for quite some time. It's about $497 for the year, I think it's an annual fee, but this is your first webinar. And what I like to encourage people to do is do the $25 option. Is it $25 or $19 for a month? You can cancel at any time. You can have up to 25 people on your webinar. Well, do you know what? Some webinars will get you thousands of people on there, but probably not on your first webinar. So you can start off with the small one, and then let's see what this other system's going to be. Webinar Jam is brilliant. It's for fully automated systems, so that you can have them playing. But start off with something that you can do easily. Just get it done, and then once you've perfected and you think, I like that, but I don't like this function, that's when you start to look further. So I always suggest just go for webinars on air. It's not the best one out there. The clarity is not as good as some of them, but hey, you're starting on your journey. So start with something that fits your pocket. And that's why I always say, if you're at the beginning of your journey, you don't want to be investing $500 on that, $2,000 on that. Spend the money where you need to. A webinar, your first month of webinars, hey, I can guarantee they're not going to be exceptional, because that's you're learning your craft. The end of month 1, if you've done a webinar every single week, you treat yourself. That's your recognition, your treat. So you go out and buy yourself that. Another question is, why do I have to do the webinar tomorrow? Because I know if you don't do it tomorrow night, if you don't get that on your Facebook page tonight and advertise, then you're not going to do it next Monday. Honestly, psychology tells us this all the time. So force yourself. I can't force you, but I know that successful people do force themselves to do it. So yeah, you have to do it tomorrow night. So I will be able to see when I check your when I check your Facebook account. Let me have a look at this one. How long does the webinar have to be? 15 minutes. I don't tend to do them for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Some people do. I'll let you into a little secret as well. When you have 2 and 3 hour webinars, what you tend to have is something called salting, and so the first hour it's hyping up, then you have lots of people presenting, then they're selling again, and keep on closing, closing, closing. So when you have something that's 2 or 3 hours long, that's exactly what's happening on that webinar. You know, educate people, get people to be comfortable with you, and then that they will choose whether to buy from you or not. Honestly, they'll seek you out. But get your webinars started. So I'm just conscious we're at 57 now. I haven't got any more questions at the moment that have come in, but I'd like to thank every single one of you for attending. If you're listening to the replay, thanks ever so much. Hopefully you've got some exceptional value there. What I want to know as well is I've got your email address registered. So have you booked your first webinar? If you have, go ahead and do that. If you haven't, you need to look deep, deep, deep inside. You've got a decision to make now, this very moment. Are you going to do whatever it takes to achieve, or are you going to let your subconscious mind ruin your future? Because you could be the most successful webinar person that has ever been in this industry. And if you don't start, you won't know if that's you. So this is Angela J. Bailey in the UK. I thank you. Get in touch if you've got any questions. If you're at a bit of a crossroads, then do something different. You're not going to find what you want to do by staying and doing what you've done in the past. So if you're not happy, change it, move it, take a new direction, look for something new, say that's it, I'm starting again, or pick something up that you always liked but never actually explored fully and exploited. And I like using the word exploited because do you know what? Most people don't even do 5% of what it takes to get a business off the ground. And when you get something that you like, go out there and you make sure it works for you. Angela J. Bailey, signing out now. Thank you very much. Ciao. Ciao. Auf Wiedersehen. And I cannot remember the Belgian, I'm afraid, for goodbye. So is it, no, thank you very much. Dank u wel. I will see you soon. Enjoy. Bye-bye.